Catawba, Isabella Miles of Towson, Michaela Gross of Hagerstown, and Abby Frock of Towson. We'll see if we can get reset here. I wonder if it was a false start or just an issue with the timer. Sometimes that's first race of the day has some issues there. So I would anticipate Madison Clay to go straight to the front, which is exactly what we're seeing. The two Catawba teammates going 1-2. Clay is a junior from Morgantown, North Carolina, where she attended R.L. Patton High School, freshman of the year in 2022. She's had the highest finish of any Catawba runner at Division II Nationals, where she placed 44th last year. Certainly class of field. She's actually sitting in second right now. Perhaps she's getting paced out by her teammate, Hannah Caudill. Hannah's run 17:37. PR is from the same race as her teammate. They both did that at the 49er invite last year. Caudill is out of Asheville, North Carolina. I'll let you guess where she went to high school. It's called Asheville High School. Not too far away from where I went to school. Some good running up in that area. I'm sure she loves running up in the trails in the Blue Ridge Mountains up there. Some really, really good trail running, good mountain biking out there as well. She ran 18:06 last year to be in the top 10 in program history. Got a 5:11 mile and 9:56 3K. Right now they're being joined by Sonia Koich of Norfolk State. She was 6th at her conference meet, the MEAC conference, where Norfolk State swept both the men's and women's titles in cross country. This is her first track race for the Spartans, so getting used to the 200-meter oval here at Virginia Beach. Native of Kericho, Kenya, and transferred over from Eastern Kentucky. Looking to add to that really strong distance program in the MEAC for Norfolk State. Koich has run 17:32. She may be just a little out of her depth with the Catawba women. So you see Clay going to the front now, starting to take some laps from her teammate. I'd expect to see these two women trade off laps, maybe a little bit more from Clay. She's got the stronger PB, although I'm sure they've done plenty of workouts together, have a good sense of each other's strengths and weaknesses. Always super helpful to have a teammate with you up front in the race. So they're clicking off about 40 seconds per lap right now. About 5:20 pace. Yeah, there you go. Got some nice splits bottom of your screen. Koich is starting to give them just a little bit of space. We'll see if she decides to hold on the pace she's on or maybe back off a little bit. Time will tell here in the next couple laps. But if they keep up this pace, so 40 seconds per 200, give or take a split second or two, that's about 16:35 pace if they're running 5:20 miles. 16:35 would be a PR for Clay. It would be a PR for Caudill. So perhaps these two women also out a little hot and maybe have a little bit more of a fight coming their way in the second mile. But Koich, I think, is making the wise decision. That enter time is accurate, which is always a question mark. But if that enter time of 17:32 is accurate, she's wise to let these ladies get away from her and run her own race. I think that's something that, if you're not familiar with distance running, is always difficult to comprehend, right? Sprinters' mentality is, get to the front, get out quick, hang on for as long as you can. And that's certainly the way to run a 60, a 100, or a 200. You want that max effort out of the blocks, and you want to hold on to the leaders for as long as you can. But in the 5,000 can really, really suffer if you get out too quick, and you'll end up running well off your PR. And at the end of the day, most of these women, that's what it's all about, trying to run their best time, trying to get better week after week, as you see the two teammates doing that together up front. So at the end of this lap, we'll get that mile split for you. Give you an update on the pace of these two women.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Virginia Beach Sportsplex for the 2025 Division I Pre-Nationals.
5:24 through the mile.
Now we have the women's 5,000 meters being contested. Up front, we have Hannah Caudill from Catawba and Madison Clay from Catawba. Third place, we have Isabel Miles.
So they've slowed just a little bit over the course of the last couple laps. 5:24 is now at about 16:46 pace. So both these ladies will be thinking about their conference championships coming up.
Electronic devices in the competition area. The competition area.
Right now, fastest mark in their conference is a 16:49.
So please remember, no electronic devices.
Catawba competes in the South Atlantic Conference in Division II. Two women in that conference have run sub-17 so far this year, both out of Wingate, Grace Burrell and Anna Martin. I'm sure both of these two women have paid attention to those performance lists and would like to see themselves go 1-2 in the conference. Clay certainly has the goods to make that happen. Freshman of the year in her conference in 2022. Really just setting a new standard at Catawba for distance running. It seems she's bringing along Hannah Caudill with her. The junior and the sophomore continuing to work off one another. I really like seeing them trade off laps. It's always a little bit more mentally challenging to be that athlete in the lead, feeling like you got to keep up the pace, keep up the rhythm. Meanwhile, the woman behind, much more relaxed, able to let the mental stress of the race kind of fade and leave that on your teammate. As you see, Coach has now faded to 4, so perhaps that hot start not so good. As mentioned earlier, getting out too quick, getting over that red line in the first 800 or the first K can really cause you to suffer over the next 17 minutes. So she's back into 4th place now. I think that's Isabella Myers of Towson, who has moved into 3rd. Transfer from Seton Hall, placed 2nd in her conference 10,000 last year. Native of Arlington, Virginia. She's really done a great job improving throughout this track season, due for a PR. Her old PR is from 2022, where she ran 18:11.
Leading the women's 5,000 meters.
And it is Miles who comes through in 3rd place. It's Michaela Gross. So we're going at 18:32. Sometimes can be a nice benefit when you're out front to have some lapped runners to keep an eye on.
Just a reminder,
as you might imagine, 25 laps of an indoor 200-meter track. Sometimes the mind starts to wander a little bit as our pace is slowing here just a little bit. Not abnormal at this stage of the race, and you're seeing just a little bit of space opening between Clay and Caudill.
Or you will be scratched.
So I've coached at the Division I level, coached at the national level, and right now I'm sure Caudill's coach is telling her, just latch onto your teammate. Y'all have run so many miles together in practice. You know what the back of her head looks like better than anybody. Just focus on the ponytail in front of you. Stay relaxed. And that's exactly what she does as she gets up to her teammate and is now getting up front to help out with some laps. So again, just such a huge psychological load to be the one leading in a 5,000. More of a psychological load when you have people that aren't on your team hanging on your shoulder. A little less when you know you're helping out your teammate at the same time. So I really like seeing Clay and Caudill trade off laps here, trade off the psychological impact of having to lead and allow themselves to take some breaks sitting behind their teammate. This is exactly what they would do in practice. You know, one athlete taking the lead, setting the pace, the other athlete sitting back, staying relaxed, maybe focused on their movement patterns or just trying to zone out in the middle of the race and stay right on their teammate. Then being able to trade that off just makes it so much easier. Got to see that last week at the BU Bruce Lehane Scarlet and White invite. Got to see Ali Bahalski And her
Out
teammate,
front.
Kaylee DeLay of the Brooks Beasts, do the exact same thing we're seeing today as they qualify for the U.S. Indoor Championships in the 3000. So, that's at the professional level with individuals who have placed in the top 10 at the Olympic trials, and we're seeing the same strategy play out here at pre-nats. There's Abby Frock of Towson working with Sonia Koech of Norfolk State. Next split we get will be the 2 mile. Abby Frock, the athlete we just saw now off your screen, graduate student at Towson out of Liberty, South Carolina, where she attended Pendleton High School. She's a transfer from Southern Wesleyan.
We have Denasha Brightful from Norfolk State University.
Putting in the work here today on the indoor oval. So there's our 2 mile split right around 11 flat. It's about 5:36 through the second mile. Remember, the first mile was 5:24. So we have slowed a little bit in that second mile, which is, again, very normal. .530 pace is about 17:05 if they keep this up. I'd imagine, though, they start cutting down as you're starting to see a little bit of daylight open up between Clay and Caudill. Clay does have the better PB by about 30 seconds. 40 seconds, that is. This is a major inflection point for Hannah Caudill sitting in second place. Needs to manage that gap to her teammate. You kind of see one of two things happen at this point in the race when you start to see this little split between two athletes. If she's locked in, she's going to manage this gap to her teammate. She's going to know that Clay has run faster. She's a year older. In other cases, sometimes you see that athlete start checking out of the race and start to lose distance as Clay looks over her shoulder, checking on her teammate.
It's the goal in the women's 5,000 meters.
So having coached athletes with this sort of separation before, very likely that Catawba coach asked Clay to try to keep the pace a little easier early on, try to keep her teammate in the race, give her something to work off of, try to drag Caudill to a faster time. As you see that starting to separate. So we were running, keep in mind, we were running 40s earlier in the race. Clay's now running 42s. Caudill's faded to 44s. So really starting to suffer here in the back half of this race. Yeah, and you can see the gap start to open up. Clay's looking for her teammate. Careful there. Sometimes these banks, especially running on the 5,000, can trip you up a little bit.
Being contested at 2:20.
So now running 42.5s. Unlikely to break 17 today. as we're now slowing to about 17:15, 17:20 pace.
Madison Clay from Catawba has opened up a little gap in the women's 5,000 meters.
She comes through this lap, she'll have 600 meters to go.
She's coming up to 800 meters to go.
800 meters to go, rather. So 15:15 there. We will not break 17 today. Looking like she's going to run 17:20, 17:30 now. Caudill really needs to stay on this pace if she wants to get in the A heat of her conference championship. So right now there are 9 women in their conference sub-18. Normally with that indoor 5,000, they'll split that up into a slow heat and a fast heat. Each conference does it a little bit differently, but ooh, we gotta pay attention to the indoor track, y'all. Always prefer to be in that faster heat because that's where the points come from. You gotta be in the top 8 in your conference to score those points. Right now, the 8th fastest mark in their conference, 17:53. So Caudill is starting to challenge that number. They started at about 17-minute pace, but Caudill's really fading here. I think they got out a little too hot. Those 40-second laps early were ambitious for both of these women as Clay slows to 43s. Yeah, you can see the grimace on her face. The movement pattern's starting to wobble just a little bit. 400 meters to go. So coming through 16:40 right there. More likely to now be a 17:50 type race. Has really slowed down over the last 1,000 meters. Her teammate Caudill even more so.
Lap, Madison Clay, women's 5,000 meters. She's coming around the turn to the finish line.
So while Madison Clay will likely take the victory, unless something crazy here happens the last 200 meters, really challenging day for both the Catawba women, getting out at 5:20 pace, coming through the mile in 5:24, coming through the 2 mile in 5:36.
17:22.83, Madison Clay. Congratulations. Second place looks like it's going to be Hannah Caudill. Also
and fading to about 5:40, 5:50 for that second mile.
17:35.42.
So those times will get them in the fast heat at conference, which is what it's all about. Keep an eye farther back on Miles, Koech, and Frock and Gross, all fighting their own individual battles out here in the 5,000 today.
This looks like the third place finisher. From Hagerstown Community College.
I think that's Michaela Gross, who made a huge improvement over the last couple laps there. Started in the back of the field. There's Koech, who was early with our leaders, but faded back a good bit.
Great competitive race in the women's 5,000 meters.
And you can see a little bit of disappointment there in Madison Clay's face. She's run 16:49 before. So note that the bottom left of your screen, those are just splits. Those are not their final times. Still waiting on results to come through the timer. As we prepare for the men's 5,000. Actually, we'll do the pentathlon 800 first. We're moving the schedule around a little bit today. It was originally scheduled to be a women's 5,000, then to the men's 5,000.
Women's 800 meters in lane Virginia Wesleyan in lane 4. Lexa Hunter, Norfolk State University in 5. Julian Hathaway in 6 from Virginia Wesleyan. And Maria Plummer also from Virginia Wesleyan in 7.
There we go with the pentathlon 800, always one of the most impressive races to watch. Athletes have already competed in the 60-meter hurdles, the high jump, the shot put, and the long jump, so busy day for all these women. Right now, leading the scoring is Essence Shaw, the junior of Norfolk State. She's sitting at 2,368 points. Not far behind her is her teammate Diana Dyer, also Norfolk State, 2,327. Naomi Allison of Towson, just a freshman, looking to challenge the upperclassmen of Norfolk State, also in the 2,300 range. Nora Ciano of Virginia Wesleyan in 4th. Hunter Lexa of Norfolk State in 5th. Julia Hathaway of Virginia Wesleyan in 6th. And Maria Plummer of Virginia Wesleyan in 7th. A lot of these women getting their feet wet in the pentathlon, the multis for the year. So a lot of the first competitions for these women as they try to put all the events together. A lot of these athletes will compete in some of these events individually. You know, maybe go to a meet and compete in the 60 hurdles and the high jump one week, and then next week do the shot put and the long jump or something similar. But always a different beast trying to put it together as they come through 400 in about 76 seconds. 77:04 on the official timer. And you'll start to see them slow over the course of these later laps as the fatigue of a long day of competition sets in their legs. So you see all 3 of the Norfolk State women working together. That's Hunter Lexa leading the way. Diana Dyer in 2nd with that 2 on her chest, and Essence Shaw in 3rd. So some individual battles at play here. Top 2 athletes in the standings overall are in 2nd and 3rd, and as I say that, the Towson athlete, Naomi Allison, really getting moving. She's gonna, if she can put enough of a gap on Diana Dyer, she could move into 2nd place in this competition. And this is a really, really strong last 150, challenging Hunter Lexa. It's Naomi Allison, who's currently in 3rd in the standings, trying to make a bid for 2nd, maybe even 1st. We'll see how much distance she can put between herself and the Norfolk State athletes Dyer and Shaw. Closing big over the last 50 meters here. So she will win the 800-meter edition of the pentathlon, but we will have to wait for the overall tally to add up. She certainly will move up the standings and close the distance between her herself and Diana Dyer and Essence Shaw. But for those unfamiliar with multi-events, that math is hard, and there's a reason we have computers to do it, so that result will get plugged in. And I'll update you on the full table of the pentathlon when those results are official. There's Maria Plummer of Virginia Wesleyan.
All women 400-meter runners must check in by 2:55 or you will be scratched. All men 400-meter runners must check in by 3:15.
Completing the pentathlon for the day.
Will be scratched.
There's your results in the 800.
Next event on the track,
see if we can do some quick math. So Allison picked up about 20 points on Lexa, but that's not operative. 90 points on Dyer will move her above, and she's going to pick up over 100 points on Shaw. So Naomi Allison not only wins the 800 in the pentathlon, but also wins the pentathlon with that excellent run in the 800. Moving past the Norfolk State athletes and taking the win here. Division I Pre-Nats.
Lane 1, we have Victor Jumo, Norfolk State University. From Davidson in lane 2.
And now we'll turn to the men's 5,000.
Davidson in lane 3.
Originally scheduled for a little bit earlier, but sometimes that pentathlon gets moved around a little bit. You want to make sure all the athletes have appropriate rest in between each event, which sounds funny to say, rest when you're doing 5 events in a single day. Really takes excellent athletic ability to be able to complete a pentathlon, let alone win it. Men's 5,000 will only have 3 athletes. Victor Jumo of Norfolk State, you see him in the green and gold there in the middle. He'll be racing the Davidson teammates, Zaharia Abdullahi and Parker Bartlett. So I'll be interested to see how Jumo decides to run this race. On paper, he is by far the faster runner of the 3 athletes. But it's rare that you only get 3 athletes in a 5,000. Usually this race features about 15 to 20 athletes. At least indoors, sometimes even more outdoors. But this might give Jumo an opportunity to practice his tactics. Deciding to sit behind Bartlett for that first lap, and now he rolls on to the front here. And we'll see how the Davidson athletes respond. 72 through 400 meters. That's about 15 flat pace, 73 on the official watch. So that's well within Jumo's capabilities. He's run 14:14. So 15 flat pace is going to feel like a tempo effort for him, which might be all he's going after today. Jumo is a transfer from Butler Junior College. I'm sure we'll have plenty more opportunities to talk about him throughout the next 14 or so minutes of this race. So we'll talk about the Davidson duo for a moment. Abdullahi, the sophomore, ran 16:13 outdoors. Entered in this race with a 15:45. His teammate Parker Bartlett, around the same ability level, 15:50. He's out of Mount Gilead, Ohio. This is his first track season for Davidson. Got in some good work cross country. And you can tell he's a guy that likes to go hard in the race early. Took that lead for the first 200 meters. Had no fear about Jumo's 14:14, a time well beyond Parker Bartlett and Abdullahi's entered abilities, but you never know. Never know what folks have put together in practice. Can only go off what's been posted on result sheets.
This event on the track will be the women's 60-meter hurdles.
So the 5,000, not a popular event in the MEAC conference where Norfolk State competes. Only 6 men so far have finished 5,000 in this conference. This season, of course. Top 4 are all Norfolk State athletes. Brian Rotich is the class of the conference, 14:07 is his top mark. Conference rules differ, not familiar with the MEAC specific rules here, but oftentimes you need to have a mark before you can enter a conference championship. So perhaps that's all Jumo is doing, just getting that mark early, making sure he is eligible for the conference championship, or at the very least the fast heat, although that shouldn't be an issue with the low participation rates in the 5,000 in the MEAC. Just 2 gentlemen have broken 15 flat, both from Norfolk State. Jumo is certainly no stranger to the 5,000. Transfer from Butler JUCO, where he was 4th at the National Indoor Meet in junior college. His 5K PR in the 5,000 is from the MEAC Outdoor Championships last year. He also won the Most Outstanding Runner at the MEAC Outdoor Champs last year. Next lap, we'll have the mile for you. 8 laps down. Not quite. 7.5 laps down for now. We'll have 8 laps down once we reach the mile, or more accurately, the 1,600. Mile 1609 meters, but we won't worry about that. Call it the mile at 1600.
Men's 5,000 meters, we have Victor Jumo from Norfolk State University coming through on 447.
So 447 will be his mile split, looking comfortable, looking relaxed. Remember, he started this race really conservatively. 72 for that first 400 meters, which is exactly how you want to run a 5,000. Start it easy, stay relaxed. Plenty of time to get going over the middle of the race. We saw the opposite of that with the Catawba women. We saw how much they struggled in the middle of the race as a result. But Mr. Jumo here on 14:48 pace. Mentioned this in the women's edition of the race, but we'll remind y'all in the men's, Norfolk swept MEAC cross-country meet, men's and women's titles. So they're looking to pick up a lot of points in the indoor 5,000 right now. They've got 4 gentlemen leading the table. Of course, that's all perspective. What you do in the beginning of the season only matters so far as gets you in the right race or gets you in the seating. So as we split up here, we'll try to keep an eye on Bartlett and Abdullahi as they come through at about 6:16 there. They're on around 15:40 pace, which is about right for both of those gentlemen. Should be PRs if they can keep that up. But, you know, in a 15-minute race, what you've done for the first 6.5 minutes only matters so much. A lot can happen, particularly in the latter stages of the race.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025.
So we do have results from the women's race. Madison Clay, 17:22. Will put her in number 5 in her conference, a slight improvement off the 5,000 she ran at Camel City distance. Her teammate Hannah Caudill finished in 17:35. I'll put her right behind her teammate, number 6 in the conference. Kayla Gross runs a nice PR in 18:17. Isabella Myers just off her PR, but with a well-run race, pretty even splits, running 18:32. Sonia Koich fading to 18:37. Learned a lesson about going out too early, I believe. And Abby Frock finishes in 18:47, just off her PB as well. So the Towson women, not far off their PBs, but the Catawba women will take the victory. Going 1-2 in the women's 5,000 as we return our attention here to Victor Jumo. Setting the pace for Norfolk State. There's our duo from Davidson. That's Abdullahi leading his teammate Bartlett. Abdullahi a sophomore, Parker a freshman. Parker Bartlett, that is. But it's been all Victor Jumo since the beginning. So next lap for Jumo will be the 3K mark. It's been split in about 3 flat per K.
Victor Jumo is our current leader in the men's 5,000 meters.
10 laps to go for Mr. Jumo. Coming through the 3K just above 850. I'm not sure about the one on site. Actually, if they're down to, I don't know what he's doing over there. Okay, that's right now. So when Jumo comes through, they get 9 laps. 9 laps for Jumo.
Right now from High Point University.
That's correct. Sounds good.
With an attempt of 11 feet 5 inches, 3.50 meters.
So Jumo cutting down the pace little by little. Still splitting about 35, 36 per lap.
Look like we have a
Should be on about 1440 pace.
Davis from High Point University, 3.50 meters. We have less than 1 mile to go in the men's 5,000 meters. Our current leader is Victor.
So Jumo starting to lap
State University.
the athletes from Davidson. Jumo has sped up just a little bit over the course of this race. So remember, he's run 14:14. Started out at about 14:40 pace. So a really conservative start for the gentleman in the green and gold. He's got 1K left. Came through 4K in 11:25. He's looking to run now. Looks like he's going to dip under 14:30. As he's now lapped both Bartlett and Abdullahi. They're both still running good races in their own right. Coming in with marks in 15:50, 15:45. Looks like they will improve upon that today if they can have a good last kilometer here, as they're both entering the last kilometer of their race.
Clearance in the women's pole vault. Elliston of College of Charleston, 11 feet 5 inches, 3.50 meters.
Jumo just clicking off the laps.
800 meters to go.
Looking good, looking good, looking strong, looking relaxed. Slowing down just a little bit there. .36.4 on that lap. It comes up on this lap, should have 400 to go.
Three laps to go with our current leader in the men's 5,000 meters, Victor Jumo. Meters to
2
go
laps to go here.
5,000 meters. Victor Jumo, our leader from Norfolk State University.
Has slowed down a good bit over the last couple laps. Might just dip under 15 flat. A little confusion on the splits early in the race. My apologies on that.
We're coming up to the bell lap in the men's 5,000 meters. Our leader, Victor Jumo, Norfolk State University.
So sub 36 here will dip him under 15 flat.
We have second place from Davidson, Abdullah, and third place from Davidson, Parker Bartlett.
And that will be easy to tip under 35, as you can see him open up his stride here. Looking strong. Victor Jumo, 4th at the JUCO National Indoor Meet for Butler. Now putting in the work for Norfolk State.
Our winner in the men's 5,000 meters,
as he
Victor
will look
Jumo, Norfolk State University,
to score a lot of points for the green and
14:53.87.
gold at the conference championships. Ranked in the top 5 at his conference. Only his teammates lay ahead of him. Still some work to be done for the gentleman from Davidson. Tulahi goes in for his final lap.
Coming around on
Came in with a
his final lap
15:45
for the men's
PB.
5,000 meters. We have 2 athletes from Davidson.
Gonna be right around that. Davidson faded a little bit over the last few laps, was with his
5,000
teammate there
meters.
for a bit. But as that space starts to open up, he's now hoping to challenge sub 16.
Second place.
Tulahi
from Davidson,
dips under the
men's
16-minute mark,
5,000
15:53 for him.
Abdullah,
You can see the fight as
15:52.30.
Bartlett tries to do the same,
Third
but will
place
just miss.
also from Davidson, Parker
Fit a little too hard over that last K. He's going to run 16:0.
16:02.80.
Disappointing
Great
day
job.
for the men from Davidson, but good to get a little practice in. It's always hard to run the 5,000 more or less by yourself. A little bit of teammate workmanship early there, but mostly solo, both those gentlemen throughout that race.
Next event on the track scheduled to go off at 3 p.m.
And we'll take a quick
is our
break here
women's
and be right back with the
prelim
action
60
here on
meter
Flow
hurdles.
Sports.
Reminder, all women 400-meter runners must declare by 2:55 or you will be scratched. Men 400-meter runners must declare by 3:15 or you will be scratched. So back in Virginia Beach, we are getting ready here for the 60-meter hurdles. The women's edition as the women set their blocks. Qualifying will be a little bit different at this meet than what you will usually see, certainly what you'll see at the conference championships here in a couple weeks. We will only take the top 8 fastest times. There will be no big Qs, as we say. So winning your heat does nothing for you other than put you Scheduled to
above the
compete
rest of the women in your heat.
In the women's 60-meter hurdle prelims.
So top 8 women will advance
we have
based off
Washington
solely on
from
time.
Catawba. From Voorhees, we have Brown.
We'll run 2 heats here.
Hamilton from Mount Olive in 3.
Lane 1 will be Haley Washington of
Pembroke
Catawba.
in 4.
Lane 2, Jacayla Brown of
Moore from
Voorhees.
Hampton
Lane
in
3,
5.
Kawana Pemberton of Mount
Washington
Olive.
from Mount Olive in
Lane
6.
4, McKaylee
Simmons from Mount Olive in
Mosby of
7.
UNC
And
Pembroke.
Lemons from
Carson
Mount
Moore
Olive
in
in
5
8.
for Hampton.
First
And
heat,
3 Mount Olive
women's
teammates,
60-meter
Zariah
hurdles.
Washington, Emiliana Simmons, and Kiana Mims on the outside. Keep your eyes on the middle of the track. Carson Moore, multi-event athlete. Fastest seat time. We'll look at lane 4. That's Michaela Mosby. It's actually going to be the outside lanes, but Mosby gets rolling well. She'll end up in second. It's going to be lane 6, Zariah Washington, that takes the win in the 60-meter hurdles. Has entered with a 9:23, so really good improvement by her to take the win against women who have run a good bit quicker. We'll wait for the official result. But nonetheless, came in as about the 5th or 6th qualifier in that heat and certainly did well to upset women that have run much faster than her this year. Heat number 2 will be our faster heat. Top 8 seed times all in this heat. We'll be keeping our eye on Brooklyn Robinson in lane 3. See her in the green top, green bottoms, setting her blocks right now. She's around 8:27. Competes in both the hurdles and the jumps. See her name in number 3. School record holder in the 60-meter hurdles to win the MEAC Indoor Championships last year. Competed in the 60 flat and the long jump, where she set PRs last week, so due for a good one. Got Emily Creek in 1, Morgan Lane in 2, Brooklyn Robinson aforementioned in 3. Sanaya Evans of Hampton in 4, her teammate Carmen Penisoto in 5, Michaela Wills of Davidson in 6, Lily Wolf in 7, and Annika Jackson of Virginia Wesleyan in 8. Should have a good battle between Wills and Evans as well. Evans goes in 4, Wills in 6. But eyes on lane number 3. Good start from Robinson as she starts to break away here in the middle of the race. Look at that gap start to open. Robinson putting the field behind her. Our watch stops at 8:06. 8:53. Good prelim mark for Robinson. Very businesslike, walking off, shakes her head. Knows she misexecuted a couple things there, but we'll get into the final just fine. I'm sure she'll have a conversation with coach. Quarter second off her PB, so pretty significant. I think some things to clean up in the start. Middle of the race was well executed, but didn't generate a lot of power in those first 3 steps. We'll need to clean that up if she wants to go under 8.5. But the school record holder for Norfolk State will sure know what to do. And we'll take a quick pause as the men set their blocks and we reset the hurdles here in Virginia Beach.
Will be the men's 60-meter hurdles. Scheduled 2 heats.
Only advance on time. There will be no automatic qualifiers. First heat will be the fast heat, so it is seeded a little differently. Usually you spread out the fast seeds across the different heats, but all the faster times entered in heat number 1 here. John Gray of Maryland Eastern Shore goes in 1. Avery Fraley of East Carolina goes in 2. His teammate Justin Leaston is the man to watch. First competition for the Pirates grad student transfer, was 13th at the East Prelims last year. He goes in 3. James Saunders for Norfolk State PR'd last week. He goes in 4. Tavon Callahan, school record holder in the 60-meter hurdles and the 110 hurdles, setting a new standard there at UNC Pembroke. He goes in 5. Terrence Booth, also a gentleman to watch. Started as a basketball player, but was second indoors at his conference meet last year and second in program history. He is chasing, or was second in program history earlier this year. He is chasing his teammates' school record. Jalen Wilson goes in 7 for Voorhees, and Rashid Saladin, his teammate, goes in 8. So another subtext to keep an eye on here. School record for East Carolina is 7:79. Leaston has run faster than that. He goes in lane 3 for the Pirates, but he did it with a different uniform. So if he can run under that time, he'll be a school record holder, but his teammate, Terrence Booth, is looking for the same mark. He's gotten closer and closer, his second in program history, and will now be battling his teammate for a potential spot on the record board of East Carolina. So a lot of good storylines here in this race. East Carolina teammates go in 3 and 6. Leaston is also the fastest entered mark of the race. So eyes on lanes 3 and 6. Possible upset from 4 and 5. 4 gentlemen have run under 8. They are all in the middle of the track. Little twitchy on the start for Leaston. And we look to the outside of the track. It's Terrence Booth being challenged by Saunders, and it's Booth. Really twitchy start there from Leaston. I'm surprised they didn't call that back. You had electronic blocks. That's a false start for sure. And you can see it as the marks really aren't that strong. I don't think those results are correct. We're getting our feed directly from the timer. The champion looked to be Terrence Booth. As he also stares up at the board in eager anticipation. Leaston with a really twitchy start there, though. That may have thrown off his competitors. You'll see a lot of officials call that back, but certainly not today. I would hope that would get called back in a final. But we will await our results, as our timers have a little bit of a delay today, and introduce the gentlemen of Heat 2. John Sheeran, the 4th of Catawba, will go in 1. Desmond Henderson of Voorhees will go in 2. Mac Perilous will represent Maryland Eastern Shore in lane 3. Really talented athlete there. PR'd last week, also won the triple jump, 14:30 at the Betty S. Rogers invite, so he's in some good form. Rajay Reed, his teammate, goes in 4. The native of Jamaica ran 8:34 at the Harvard invite, also rolling with good fitness right now. Joshua Brewington of Virginia Wesleyan, his teammate Isaiah Braxton will go in 5 and 6. Brewington's on a roll this season, tons of PRs. Looks like he's going to be competing in the multis at the conference championships. We'll see. Still getting his feet wet in a couple different events. Brewington, just a freshman. Rounding out the field will be Emmanuel Oxendine of Mount Olive and DeAndre Scott of Voorhees, both freshmen. Still no heat results from heat number 1. We'll get that to you as soon as the timer gets it done. Wonder if that Twitch and the block threw things off.
Heat 2 of the men's 60-meter hurdles on the track.
And there we go. Booth did take the win, so my eye did not deceive me. 7:92, just off his PB by 0.04 of a second. Saunders in second with 8:05. So most of the gentlemen in that race will be disappointed, particularly Leaston, who's run 7:7 before. He only did 8:4 in that race. There is a possibility he does not get into the final with that mark. There are a couple gentlemen here who can run under 8:4. We'll see if they do today. Good start out of 1. That's Sheeran the 4th, but look at the middle of the track starting to roll. That's Reed who takes the win alongside his teammate. I think Reed got the edge on Mac. You can see them laughing together just like practice. It is Reed who gets the edge by 0.06 off his teammate. You can see a little friendly competition there. They both run, correct me, or Mac ran a personal best, Reed just off his PB by 0.03. We'll wait to see if that qualifies them for the final, but good marks by the Hawks in 1 and 2. Brewington just a little bit off his PB. Sheeran with a nice PB there, improving by about 1/10 of a second. Rest of the gentlemen, we'll go back to coach and sort out some technique before the conference championships. And that will be it for our men's 60-meter hurdle prelims. The finals will come this afternoon, both the women's and the men's. Women's will be at 4:45. Men's will precede that at 4:40. But for now, we will take a break, clear off the track, and return with the women's 60-meter dash prelims. Scheduled to start 2 minutes from now, but we'll wait for the hurdles, and we will be back here shortly on FloTrack.
Next event on the track will be our women's 60-meter dash. Prelims. Qualifiers for the finals of the men's 60-meter hurdles. We have Leston from East Carolina, Gray from Maryland Eastern Shore, Wilson from Voorhees, Booth from East Carolina, Saunders from Norfolk State University, Reed from Maryland Eastern Shore, Perlis from Maryland Eastern Shore, and Brewington from Virginia Wesleyan. Women's 60-meter hurdle qualifiers for final. We have Wolf from Catawba, Lane from Towson, Willis from Davidson, Robinson from Norfolk State, Evans from Hampton, Vicento from Hampton, Creek from College of Charleston, and Washington from Mount Olive. Those are your qualifiers for the finals of the men and women 60-meter hurdles. Next on the track, we have our women's 60-meter dash. Scheduled 4 heats.
Welcome back to Virginia Beach. We're preparing for the women's 60-meter dash prelims. Similar to the hurdles, no big cues. Just time will advance you to the final later this afternoon. We'll have 4 heats scheduled for the women. Seating is a little bit different. Hot heat seems to be heat 3 with our fastest marks in there, but let's introduce the women of heat 1. Leah Legros in 1 for Catawba. Jessica Franklin of Hagerstown in 2. Giselle Badu, that she's the woman to watch from Towson, in 3. Sanaya Shields goes in 4. Stella Anani in 5. Kaylee Bork in 6. Emma Townsend in 7. And Ashlyn Turner, UNC Pembroke, in 8. Badu, the Missouri State transfer, was second at the Patriot Games last week. Fastest mark. Entered it in this heat in lane 3. Expect strong challenge from Shields out of Raleigh, running for Mount Olive, the freshman, in 4. Good start from Shields in 4. Looks like she is breaking away just a little bit. That's going to be really close. I do think Shields got it. Really good run for the green and gold. Callie Bork, sophomore out of Norfolk State, in lane 6. But I do think it's Shields that took it. We will wait for the results.
And Bork from Norfolk State in 7.86.
And Shields takes it by 100th of a second over Bork. Anani with a good run there. 7:87. Just off her personal best. All the women will have to wait and watch the next 3 heats to see if they advance to the final. Heat number 2, Kennedy Chapman of Virginia Wesleyan goes in 3. Gabby David of College of Charleston in 4. Tanaya Glaspie of UNC Pembroke in 5. And Lyric Hoggart of Virginia Wesleyan goes in 6. On paper, not expecting a finals qualifier out of this race. Looks like we are also missing David in 4. So put your eyes on Glaspie in lane 5, and she breaks away almost immediately out of the blocks, putting the Virginia Wesleyan teammates behind her. Glaspie was the only woman in this heat seated under 8 seconds. And she's gonna PB by just a little bit. 7:97 for Glaspie. Immediately going to coach, getting some feedback. We'll get ready for heat number 3. In 1, we'll have Kamaya Wooten of North Carolina Wesleyan. In 2, we'll have Alicia Farrar of Norfolk State. In 3, we'll have possibly the star of the entire meet, Victoria Harris. I'll tell you more about her in a second. Brianna Charles of Hampton goes in 4. Anaya Johnson of Mount Olive in 5. Brandy Hall of Norfolk State in 6. Mallory Witherspoon of Catawba in 7. And Brooklyn Robinson goes in 8 for Norfolk State. Victoria Harris in lane 3. Just a freshman at Mount Olive, but already having a huge impact, as you see her with the black top and the green bottoms in lane 3. She's out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, the home of J. Cole. Ran 7:40 last week to set a 60-meter school record. Is closing in on the school's 200-meter record as well. Currently ranked number 1 in the conference in the 60, number 2 in the 200, and number 7 in Division II. Looks to move her name up on that Division II list with this race. She'll have some competition from Charles on her outside in lane 4. Charles was second at the HBCU showcase in both the 60 and the 200, currently ranked number 3 in her conference. Harris with a good start. See if she can hold off Charles, and she is just going to continue to break away over the course of the 60-meter race. Good start from Harris, good middle, good finish. That's exactly what you want from the 60. Her and Charles look to go 1-2 So we'll wait for the official result. Harris seems very casual, very relaxed about the race. She's more interested in the final this afternoon, although that may be a precursor to it. 7:49 for her. Not a top-notch performance, but still better than the PRs of anyone else in this field. And by not a top-notch performance, I mean for her, relatively. She's run 7:40. Charles takes second. We'll look to heat number 4. We'll have Morgan Pruitt of Hampton in 1, Nancy Hudson of Towson in 2, Kaylee Jefferson of Hampton in 3, Fema Agbiri of Catawba in 4, Sarah Nicholson of Mount Olive in 5, Taisha Bryant of North Carolina Wesleyan in 6, Kennedy Johnson of Hampton in 7, and Zare Floyd of Norfolk State in 8. Fun little storyline here from Agbiri of Catawba in 4. She is the number 2, number 3, and number 4 woman in school history at Catawba. She's chasing Kira McNeil's 7:69 for a school record. Right now she is 0.02 seconds off that school record. Strongest competitor entered in the race is Kaylee Jefferson in lane 3, the freshman from Hampton. 7:77 is from mid-January, number 10 in the conference in the long jump as well, where she finished 5th at the Penn Classic last week. So look for a good battle at lanes 3 and 4, possibly with an upset coming out of lane 5 for Nicholson. Number 7 in the conference right now for Mount Olive, chasing her teammate Victoria Harris in that heat number 3. So Jefferson in 3, Agbiri in 4, Nicholson in 5. Should be a real close race between those 3 women. And that's going to be a false start out of 1 if they keep the rules. Broke the plane. Morgan Pruitt from Hampton. Let's see what the officials decide to do. If this was a conference championship, that would undoubtedly be a DQ. And he is reaching for the red card. And that will be the day done for Morgan Pruitt. The rest of the women take a deep breath and reset for this heat number 4 of the women's 60-meter dash prelims. Twitchy start for Agbiri in 3. Jefferson has the best start, but Hudson doing some really good work in lane 2. Hudson of Towson, where did she come from? 7:78 entered and has an excellent race. You can see the smiles. Maybe she just didn't want somebody on her inside. Well done to take the heat there as we await the results. 7:70 from Hudson. That's a nice PB from her. Everybody else in the race runs a little slower than their PBs. Unsurprising after that false start. But Nancy Hudson, not affected, takes the win there.
Men's 60-meter dash prelims.
And here are our overall results. Harris, our leader, 7:49. We'll have the final later this afternoon. But there are your qualifiers. And we'll get ready for the men's 60-meter prelims here in a moment. Yep, all set. I got the Flow College read. Oh, you want the TB read? Got it. While the men set their blocks, remember that sports are better on the big screen. Head to your preferred device app store to download the all-new Flow Sports TV apps for Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, and Chromecast. Set your favorites, search our library of live and on-demand content, and so much more. Download today. back to the track. The men's 60 getting prepped here. Again, similar to the women, top 8 advance on time only. There will be 7 heats. There will be no automatic qualifiers. So run fast and then sit and wait for everybody else. Not the most fun way to run it. That's how it goes sometimes. Heat number 1 will have Julian Ward of Norfolk State. Trayvon Morrow of UNC Pembroke will go in 2. Brian Madison Ahuman of Norfolk State will go in 3. More on him in a moment. Darius Turner of Catawba in 4. Jaden Clark of Hampton in 5. Donovan Terry of Norfolk State in 6. Kari Barnes of Hampton in 7. And Daniel Dowson of UNC Pembroke in 8. So Madison Ahuman, the athlete for Norfolk State, in lane 3, PR'd last week. Was 7th at MEAC Indoors last year, looking to improve that and score some more points for the green and gold. He is the fastest man on paper in this heat number 1, but as we just saw, there's a reason we run the race. On paper only means so much. Had a big upset out of lane 2 in the former race. That was heat 4 of the women's. We'll see what happens in the men's. Oh, and a fall from Madison Ahuman. Really interesting starts here. We had a twitchy start in the men's 60-meter hurdle prelim that didn't get called back. We got a false start in heat 4 of the women's 60, and now we have a red card. The man from the green and gold not too happy about it in lane 3. So the men will reset. As Madison Ahuman makes the long walk back to the team tent. Well, with that, Donovan Terry becomes the fastest man in the field. His PB of 6:89 came at the BCU Rams Indoor Invitational this season, where he placed 3rd. He also set a PB in that same meet in the 200. Donovan Terry is in the green in lane 6. He's also fresh off a 400-meter PB last week at the East Coast Invitational. Just a freshman, but already making a big impact on the green and gold. Good start out of 1. Seen some good starts on the inside of the track. Watch lane 2. That's Trayvon Morrow. Trayvon Morrow takes the win here of heat number 1. Some really good starts on the inside of the track there. Julian Ward got out well as well. Dapped up by his teammates. Always a good feeling when you run a good race. Feel good the rest of the day. He only runs 6:88 coming into this race. We'll wait for the official result. Do we have the result? And hence the celebration, 6:83. New PB for him. New PB for his teammate, Mr. Dawson. Coming out of lane 8 to take 2nd. So they go 1-2. Really good day for the teammates. And we'll turn to heat number 2. Heat number 2 will have Jonathan Willis of East Carolina. He goes in 1. Jamabi Glover of Mount Olive goes in 2. Winfred Porter of Catawba goes in 3. Sonal J. Bentley of Voorhees goes in 4. Demarion Alexander, his teammate, in 5. Nathan Wade, the Hawk, goes in 6. Caleb McKinney goes in 7 for UNC Pembroke, and Ricardo Lewis of Voorhees goes in 8. Fastest entrant is Porter in lane 3. That's 6:71. It was a PR in early December at the JDL Fast Track over in Winston-Salem. He placed 2nd in that meet, currently ranked 2nd in his conference. Marion Alexander, also a man to watch in lane 4. Not too far off Porter's best time. He's number 12 in NAIA right now. Won the Celebration Point Classic last week. So Porter in 3. Alexander goes in 5. Missing a couple guys here. Hopefully not reseeding, because that always confuses the heck out of the announcer. Not great starts anywhere, but Porter does all right to extend during the middle of the race. He's chased closely by Alexander. Porter jumping around, feeling good. Can't tell if he's nervous or excited about that race. Obviously took the win of the heat. Reminder, his best mark is 6.71. He's going to be just off that with a 6.73, but good to get some consistency mid-season. Alexander's 6.79, also just off his PB. So nobody's best day at the top end of that heat. But it's so important to be able to create consistency in the sprints, especially if you want to be able to navigate rounds and finals. Being able to run right on your PB is a good day, even if it doesn't always feel like it. All of these athletes, by nature of who they are, want to improve week after week. But never the reality of this situation. We'll move to heat number 3. Jacoby Pivia of Mount Olive in 1. DeAndre McIntosh of Hampton in 2. Twan Smith in 3 for Norfolk State. Leland Smith in 4 for Mount Olive. Premier Wind of Norfolk State in 5. Landon Dupper of Voorhees in 6. Christopher Basking in 7. And Tamari Collins in 8. So both Smiths and Wynn have run 6.90. Don't let me leave out Landon Dupper, the freshman from Voorhees, who has done the same. He goes in lane 6. So very rare you see this close of a competition where you have 4 men all right next to each other who have all run the same exact personal best in the 60-meter dash. So lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. I just hope I can tell who's winning. We're missing 4. So Antoine Smith might be at a slight disadvantage, although McIntosh on his left shoulder has only run 0.02 of a second slower. It should be a good opportunity for all these gentlemen to run a personal best. And we are really struggling out of the blocks today. I don't know if we're anticipating or what's going on. But that's Basking of Norfolk State, who knows he's done. Doesn't even wait for the red card, just off he goes. I'm wondering if we're getting some background noise that's impacting these gentlemen. It's always hard on the indoor track. You got field events happen. Yeah, there's the red card. He didn't even wait for it. He just... Oh, wait a minute. What's going on here? I think the official's trying to show him the red card. Basking didn't want to see it. He's got a hot date at the concession stand, so takes the DQ, moves on with his day. There he is. If I were him, I'd be trying to hide from my coach, but hopefully he's a braver man than me. So now we're down to 3 690 men. Smith, Wynn, and Dupper. Another twitchy start. I would have pulled that back from McIntosh in lane 2, but McIntosh has a really good middle of the race and will end up taking the win. He's a 6.92 man. He must have heard what I said about the disadvantage to the guy on his right, Antoine Smith. But McIntosh with a really good run there. A lot of these gentlemen will have to learn a few things if they have to deal with electronic block, because that was a major twitch off the start. 6.91 will be a personal best for him. Well, I'm sure Coach will have some comments on the way he came out of the blocks. I don't know if he anticipated the start or just a little bit of a twitch there before the gun went off, but takes the win, 6.91. Dupper gets second in 6.99. And we'll turn to a very small heat number 4. Just 3 gentlemen here, all teammates. Taquan Smith, Damian Fields, and Quincy Dunn. So these three gentlemen seated behind the rest of the pack. But when you have an indoor meet right next to campus, you go compete. Virginia Wesleyan, of course, located right across the street here. Good start out of Dunn in 5. Smith starting to bring him back a little bit in 3. Smith brings him back. Loses his teammate Dunn off the start, but comes back in the middle of that race and takes the win. I would have bet a lot of money that Virginia Wesleyan was going to win that heat. That's a small PR for Damian Fields. Congratulations to him. Dunn and Smith both off their personal best, but we're together with teammates. Just a little practice here at the indoor facility. The site of the NCAA Division I National Meet coming up in a couple of weeks. As we turn to heat number 5. In this race, we'll have Owan Gary of Catawba in 1. Kenneth Welch of Maryland Eastern Shore in 2. Savion Kennard of Mount Olive in 3. Sean Towns of UNC Pembroke in 4. A.J. Kurtz running for Davidson in 5. Deshaun White of Mount Olive in 6. Jeremiah Hale-Stock of Catawba in 7. And Judah Wright in 8 for Maryland Eastern Shore. This should also be a pretty tight race. Fastest entrant is Mr. Kennard for Mount Olive in lane 3, but the slowest entrant is only a 7:10, so a 0.06 seconds off. That's due to Wright over there in lane 8. So all these gentlemen within 0.06 of a second of one another. Kennard ran a 200-meter PB last week and was just off his 60-meter PR. So he's in some good form. We'll also keep an eye on Zyshawn White, who's run the same mark as his teammate. So also tied for the fastest mark. Although White didn't seem to make his way to the start list, so we will not watch him. We will keep our eyes on Kennard in lane 3, who should have some stiff competition from all sides here. Good start from Kennard out of 3. Good start from Gary out of 1 as well. It's Gary and Kennard battling, and it's going to be Kennard that takes it in the last couple meters there for Mount Olive. I'm sure these guys don't love the rail at the top of the bank. They much prefer the pad that they can jump into. Nobody happy about the time. But Kennard certainly took the win there. Top gentleman hiding his face. 7:04 for Kennard. I don't know what he's so disappointed about. That ties his personal best. The rest of the gentlemen, a little bit more of a right to be disappointed. Perhaps felt like there was some technique concerns there he's been working on with the coach that he did not quite execute. But again, good to create consistency in early season and an improvement off last week. So good day for Kennard, even if he doesn't seem too excited by it. Heat number 6. We'll have Owls Odin Desir of Hagerstown in 1. Avery Fraley of East Carolina in 2. Mickey Hayes of UNC Pembroke in 3. Brendan Henby of Catawba in 4. Tyrese Golston of Maryland Eastern Shore in 5. Mason Scott of the Pirates in 6. Tramel Banks Voorhees in 7. And Rajon Gray representing the Hawks in 8. Fastest entrants are both Hayes and Golston. Hayes is in 3, Golston's in 5. Henby's not too far behind, though, in lane 4, so good battle there in the middle of the track. Hayes, the native from Harrisburg, North Carolina. Never ran the 60 in high school, so still getting used to those extra 5 meters. Ran the 55 indoors, although he ran the 100 plenty of times outdoors, so no concerns there. Golston in 5, won the BU John Thomas invite. The PR a few weeks ago. That 6.96 PR'd in the 200 as well, so he's running strong for the Hawks. Hayes in 3, Golston in 5. Good start from Hayes in 3. Really rough start for Fraley, but look at Desir. Look at Desir. Really good start from him, although Hayes, I think, might have brought it back there in the last 10 meters. Hayes got it. Wow, what a great comeback there in the last 20 meters from Hayes. What was it? 6:97 for Hayes, ties his personal best. Well, ties his entered mark. He ran 6:96 a couple weeks ago at Boston, but 6:97 will beat Desir by 1/100th of a second. Golston, I didn't say his name, but dang, he was close. 6:99, 2/100ths of a second off the lead. All three gentlemen under 7. We can't get a camera on. It might be late for the 60, but we can't get a camera on the scoreboard after the race, can we? Okay. Sure. Oh, even harder. Sure. Cool. Thanks. Heat number 7. Jermaine Stokes in 2 for Voorhees. Mikkel, we saw him a moment ago. From Maryland Eastern Shore, he just ran in the hurdles. Quay Brown of Voorhees in 4. Evan File of Davison in 5. Cohen of Hampton in 6. Blake of Hagerstown in 3. Look at Mack in lane 3, getting rolling. Good comeback there from the Hampton athlete Cohen in lane 6. It's going to be Mack that took that one. Cohen actually got it, 7:13. And, well, now there's an adjustment. Mack is now tied. There's 7:13. It looks like it's going to go down to the thousandths. But they're giving it to Cohen, 7:13. That's a season best for both those gentlemen. I dare say a PR as well based on their entered marks. Big Mac thought he took it.
Next event on the track, women's 800
we'll have
meter
to wait.
run. Next event on the track, women's.
And we'll move to the oval as we prepare for the women's 800. But there's the first round results from the 60s. So top 8 men there will qualify. Took 6:91 to do it. We'll get to see all those gentlemen again later this afternoon. Men's 60-meter dash will be at 4:55. And we are scheduled for 3 heats in the women's 800. And we'll let them line up. And we have Eden Barnwell of Catawba, Kylie King of Hampton, Leanna Lewis of Norfolk State, Madeline Mead of East Carolina, Mara Stewart of Towson, Amani Thompson, Norfolk State, Michaela Wilson of Hampton, Maya Wyatt of Norfolk State, and Nevaeh Zales of East Carolina.
King from Hampton, Wilson from Hampton, Zales from East Carolina, and Mead from East Carolina. Heat 1, women's 800-meter run.
So this will be interesting since we have a good number of teammates running with each other throughout this race. It looks like the Towson athlete is the only athlete without a teammate. That's Bara Stewart in lane 3. Supposed to be Catawba athlete who did not find her way to the start line. We'll see if we get any team tactics as we are moving folks to the outside lanes, or what's going on here. We'll wait for the official. Guess we're going to do a double waterfall start. Odd for an 8-person field. 8-person field, I would have put them in lanes, but I'm not in charge. Usually conference championships, they'll put you in lanes, especially with teammates in the race. I would have definitely laned it up. Good to get used to conference championships as well, but we'll have 2 athletes up on the top double waterfall. And they will run blind for the first first 50 meters or so. They'll just run this corner blind, and you can see how quickly they get out on the top. It's always a little bit of extra nerves when you don't feel the athletes above you. I guess on this track, they're going to run the full 100. And they'll break down once they get into this straightaway. That last cone, they both do it successfully, but they both get out pretty quick. Jemiah Wyatt, the top entered athlete in this race, goes straight to the front. Distance runner from Germantown, Maryland, transferred from Coppin State. She's run all sorts of distances, ran 2:08 in the 800 back at the 2024 Outdoor Championships. Has some good strength as well. She ran 4:41 in the 15. She's marked by Liana Lewis, her teammate, in second. We'll see what they come through 400. 63, so getting moving.
Our leader through the first 400 meters is Wyatt from Norfolk State. Tucked in right
Wyatt and Lewis running 1-2, starting to break away just a little bit here. That's Kylie King of Hampton in third, trying to challenge. But Wyatt really putting on a good show. I'd like to see her cut on over and run the shortest possible distance, particularly on the inside or on an indoor track. And there's Lewis starting to try to challenge her on the outside.
Lewis has took the lead from Wyatt.
Really quick couple laps there. This is the final lap. Lewis has gone around Wyatt, the two teammates doing battle. Top time in their conference is at 2:12. That is likely to go down. I think Wyatt has another gear. She's got eyes like a hawk on the back of Lewis's head. Can she do anything here in the final straightaway? Lewis is starting to open it up. I don't think Wyatt's going to be able to respond. And that's going to be the new top time in the conference. Lewis runs 2:11. We'll wait for the official result. But takes the top spot in the MEAC. I don't think Wyatt was far behind. They came in ranked 2 and 3. Now they're going to be ranked 1 and 2. Well run by the green and gold.
On the track, heat 2 of our women's.
It's actually going to be sub 2:11. Lewis takes it in 2:10.81. New best time in the conference for the year. Wyatt is now the number 2 performer in the conference. 2:11. Good run from Wilson there. 2:16. Rest of the athletes will fail to PR today. As we turn to heat number 2. That was a really hot start, so I think a lot of the athletes struggled over the last 200. But at the 800, one of those odd races where I spoke about earlier in the 5K, you really need to be conservative, run your own race, get faster as you go. The sprints, you got to get out quick and hang with the leaders as long as you can, but the 800, the mid-distance, is an odd race where you have to balance that very carefully. This is the event I tested in college and coach on the international level as well. Heat number 2, Sydney Cockerham of Catawba, Isabella Darce of Davidson, her teammate Katie Deacon, Charity Davies of Catawba, Ella Klingenpeel of Virginia Wesleyan, Cheyenne Campbell of Maryland Eastern Shore, Lexi Moggensen of Towson, Emerson Glenn of Catawba, and College of Charleston athlete Courtney Kearns rounds out the field. A lot of Catawba athletes working together up front. Do we still have splits, or is that gone? Stavies of Catawba leading the way. Her teammate Cockerham right behind her. Looks like a Davidson athlete. Darce trying to hold on third right now, but it's actually Moggensen of Towson who's starting to go around. And really all the women there at 400 going in sub 70. 32.7 on the split for Davies. It's a great looking graphic there at the bottom of your screen. The Catawba women still running 1-2. But they might get a challenge here from Moggensen of Towson. Moggensen trying to get around Cockerham. Cockerham's done well to hold the inside. We're also seeing some fresh legs from Deacon, the Davidson athlete, in third place right now. trying to make a move. Cockerham has done all the work so far.
Women's 800-meter run.
But Cockerham, Moggensen, and Deacon all in the race with 200. Cockerham starting to open up a little bit, but there's the response by Mogensen. Mogensen of Towson goes to the lead, representing the Colonial Athletic Association.
We have Deacon from Davidson on the home stretch.
That's Mogensen from Towson.
Two will be taken by Deacon from Davidson.
Runs through the line. I think about 220.
No, looks like Towson.
2:19:43, dips under 220. Well-run race by Mogensen. Tail of 2 races there. Heat 1 getting out really quick, with a lot of the women struggling to hang on. And Heat 2, on the other hand, a little bit more cautious in the first 400 before an aggressive cut down there by Lexi Mogensen to take the win for Towson. 2:19:43. Cockerham also hangs on for sub 220. Did about 650 meters there of leading before Mogensen hit the gas pedal in the last lap. And the women of heat number 3 line up will have Reagan Wells of College of Charleston, Joanna Ockwarts of Catawba, Caroline Jelena of Davidson, Celia Brown of Virginia Wesleyan, Parker Smith of Davidson, Sierra Rhea of Hagerstown, Grace Koopmans of Catawba, Ruby Cafone of Mount Olive, Abby Peck of Virginia Wesleyan, and Alyssa Callahan of Mount Olive. I'm gonna step away for a second.
Heat 3 of 3, women's 800-meter run. Our early leader is Wells from the College of Charleston. Bell lap, women's 800-meter run, heat 3 of 3.
And there's the Catawba athlete charging, 100 meters to go. Reagan Wells did a lot of the work early for College of Charleston. It's Alcarts who has the legs in the last 100 meters. She's going to try to dip under 220, but just miss it. Good day for Alcarts. She came in with a 223 PB. Will beat that by a second or two. Reagan Wells not too far off. Her 222 might actually get the PB as the rest of the women file in. Can't tell if she's happy about it. It's always funny after the 800. It's PR, 2 seconds better than she's ever run in a collegiate uniform. But I think she's a little more concerned with her high heart rate and gasping lungs for the moment than she is with the PR and the race win for heat number 3.
Men's 800-meter run.
And stay right with us here on FloTrack because we're turning to the men's 800. 2 heats scheduled here. I'm Hayden Cox, bringing you all the action today and tomorrow in this beautiful facility in Virginia Beach. Tested things out for the NCAA Championships hosted here in a couple weeks. 800, always partial to my heart. It's what I raced in college and what I still coach on the international level. Chrissy Gear recently ran that world #1 time a few weeks ago, 2 flat 6. Started coaching her in November. We'll compete there at the U.S. Indoor Championships in Staten Island next week. Not the world #1 time anymore, has since been beaten since the Europeans got going. It's still, I believe it's in the top 10. Let's hope these gentlemen can crush that time. We'll have 9 men here. Muhammad Al-Yafi of Hampton, Alex Sawyer of East Carolina, Jake Scallion of Hagerstown, Jake Fisher of Davidson, Jaquan Christopher of Norfolk State, Liam Murillo of Davidson, Owen Sanderson of Davidson, and then 2 North Carolina Wesleyan teammates, Juan Abascal and Omar Rodriguez. They came through in the 200, about 27.5. Honest pace, getting things going. Muhammad Al-Yafi, fastest entered athlete in this race. And he is running with no fear, going right to the front. I also really enjoy the strategy of the 800 as athletes often have strong preferences either to go to the front and lead, as Muhammad Al-Yafi is doing, or to sit back and let other folks do the work, as Murillo and Sawyer are tucked into 2nd and 3rd. I think Murillo feels really good. He looks very relaxed there in 2nd place. I like the way he's running. But Al-Yafi, the native of Doha from Aspire Academy,
coming up to the bell lap for the first heat.
Is in control of this race. There goes Alex Sawyer trying to make a move for the Pirates. Alex Sawyer looks like he's got some legs. As Murillo starts to fade just a little bit, we're getting a strong move from Jake Scallion, I believe that is from Hagerstown. But I think Al-Yafi is going to be able to hold everybody off. Al-Yafi, our leader, he's being challenged by Sawyer right behind him. Does Sawyer have another gear, or is it going to be all Al-Yafi taking the win for Hampton and his home nation of Qatar? The transfer from Indian Hills. 153.20 is the official mark.
From Hampton. Sawyer from East
He's run 151, so he won't care about the time. But always feels good to take a race win, practicing some tactics as you get ready for that conference weekend.
Jaquan Christopher from Norfolk State University, 154.53.